Alf, you look completely rested over there.
I can't remember when I've had a more pleasant day.
How's everybody doing today? Welcome back to another episode of the Sports Card Dad. Alf, maybe this hobby isn't exactly what we thought it was.
Yes, I can see what I can do to lower that number. I want to make you happy.
Hey, Janine.
Yes,
Janine.
I would be happy to crunch those numbers. Just a moment, I'm very sorry. What?
I want to play a game.
Okay, well, I want to go home on time, so...
Let's have a quick State of the Union card hobby discussion, shall we? I put a video out over the weekend. I went with my son to our local card show. Clearly the card hobby is dead. Raleigh Card Show. This is about 11:30 on Saturday. Had a really great time, and actually yesterday went to the New Orleans Saints at Carolina Panthers game and was surprised to see our 1-8 Saints pull it out. It was actually great. It was a sea of teal Panthers fans, and actually the one thing I will say is Panthers fans very easy to deal with in comparison to going down to Buck Stadium, going into like at Tampa Bay and dealing with all those crazies. Michael Ham, shout out. The Bucks fans are passionate. Panthers fans, semi-passionate, but not as much. At least not live in the stadium. And I say that because I've been to this game probably every year for the last, 5 or 6 years. I might have missed 1 or 2 in there, but for the most part, you go in there and it's relatively quiet, whether the Panthers are winning, losing, they're nice. Like, they're like, hey, Saints fans. It's like, what? Okay, that's cool. It was a good time seeing Tyler Shuck get his first victory. We got smoked by the Rams last week, but frankly, I think that the Rams are going to be Super Bowl bound, or they're going to be deep in the playoffs this year. So I kind of thought that Tyler Shuck was going to get manhandled last week against the Rams, and he did. But today, he actually looked good against a Panthers team coming off of a big win in Lambeau against a stacked Packers roster. We had low expectations going into this game at Carolina, but able to pull it out. Defense surprisingly played well, and Tyler Shuck showed that he might be that guy if he can continue play consistently. Throws he was making, kind of creating out of the pocket, getting out, evading a rush, and then throwing 30 yards downfield. It was impressive to see in person. One thing I will say, and I've said this many, many times, and especially when I go to like my local shows or regional shows, it is so apparent to me that when we look at kind of hobby social media, whether that's YouTube or Twitter or Instagram or Etsy or whatever the hell, wherever, for social media, there's just so many people that don't participate in hobby social media. They're just out there doing their thing. When I was at the Raleigh show, it was actually awesome because that show is mostly low-end to mid-end items. There's, like I said in my video over the weekend, there's some high-end tables, but for the most part, it is very affordable stuff, and it was packed. It was absolutely packed, and I think that is more representative of the overall card hobby globally and in the United States. Most people are just not buying super high-end cards. And yes, we do see some big sales on the high end. I think that it's okay to kind of look at, and this is not just sports cards, but just collectibles in general. I think that a lot of people want to believe that there is some huge trickle-down effect from those sales. I just don't believe that to be the case. I don't think because a particular Michael Jordan card sells for millions of dollars, that means that the $1 cards are now $3 cards. It just doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that in collectibles. So certainly not a bad thing to pay attention to the high-end sales, and it's a lot of what social media is. We see a lot of the reporting on XYZ, huge sale here, huge sale there, setting new records. But the truth is that most people are just not, that's not their world. That's up in the clouds, and most people are just collecting their favorite team. Over the weekend, Rob Veras posted a video at Burbank Sports Cards, and I think it was a perfect assimilation of what our hobby is because he's got it all there. He's got high-end stuff for sure. He's got new product. He's got PSA inside the store. By the way, if you're a new time submitter to PSA, don't forget to get that $25 off that first submission. SCD25 code at the shipping and billing screen. Get your discount, first time submitters, over there at PSA. And justcollect.com if you've got a collection to sell and no idea where to go with it. Make sure to check out Just Collect. I've got a link in the video description as well as in the pinned comments. My own fancy landing page over there at justcollect.com, so make sure to check it out. Alf, let's play that clip, my friend.
All right, so we got 3 o'clock vibes at Burbank, and it's just gotten, look at Nate over there, we got Sonia over there. It is a vibe in this joint coming to you from the Pokemon section over here. Let's kind of see what's up, give you an update from our last Vibes tour here at Burbank. And it is nuts. Look at all the folks over here checking out the Pokemon verticals. Looks like Kevin's got a stack of orders he's pulling. We got folks looking at all the different verticals over here. Let's check things out. We've got folks going through cards like crazy. Nothing like putting your hands on cards. Looks like they're looking at Dodger cards right there. Again, the wait list is full. We got folks checking out. Did you have a good time? Good, good. Excellent. Yeah, this place is just nuclear right now. Looks like collector's court. It's a vibe. It's a vibe here. We got folks in the kiosks over there checking things out. It is crazy. The tables looking good here. We got the PSA booth here. They've been busy all day, keeping them busy. We got the verticals. Folks are just taking a look at everything in the verticals. We got folks just basically everywhere in the store. Looks like I got Carlos back there holding things down on the wax.
And so you can see just a lot of people doing a lot of different things in there, whether it's single stuff, buying new product. They're at the PSA store in Burbank. There's people walking around just watching the games on the TV. But that is a perfect ecosystem. And you see that. It's not just Burbank Cards. There's a lot of great card stores all over the country. That Burbank card store, when I was watching that video, it makes me think that you're at a card show. It actually looked like a card show. A lot of people in there, everyone's just kind of doing their own thing. Huge store, obviously, but it felt like its own card show in there. And it wasn't so obsessed with high-end stuff. You see people looking at 25-cent cards, dollar cards. And yeah, you've got some people who are looking at thousands of dollars, $10,000 cards. Fine. But that is not what everybody is doing. And I think that's a great thing. I've looked at my own collection. If I'm buying a higher end type thing for me, it's all relative. I'm being really picky on what that thing is.
Let's see who's got balls.
Really picky. It might not even be a sports card. I'm looking at a couple of things. Shout out to my friends at Hakes Auctions. They got an auction that ends here in 8 or 9 days, channel partner. I've got a bunch of things on there that I'm eyeballing that I'm trying to see like, oh man, depending on how things go, maybe I can get into some of these items or one big one or whatever.
Yeah.
That's part of the fun of the strategy there. But as far as the high-end stuff for me, and again, high-end for me is probably in the $3,000 to $8,000 range. I've never spent more than that on a card or a collectible, but it also just kind of reminds me of like, hey, look, I can have a lot of fun too, just looking at my binders that are full of, I've got an 86 Topps football set binder. I've got an 89 Score football set binder, 1990 Impel Marvel cards. I'm trying to also just remember like, hey, wait a second. Like, why did I get back into this? So if I'm thinking back to 2018, I got back into the hobby. It was a huge focus on nostalgia, 80s, 90s cards, and just 80s, 90s pop culture in general, 80s, 90s IP in general, and sports. And my collection has kind of blossomed from there, and there's all sorts of different things, and it's all fun, and that's great. But I'm also just thinking like, maybe I just need to go back to my roots a little bit and focus more on that 80s, 90s stuff. And again, it could be common cards. I've shown, some of the stuff here before, but everyone remembers this card going back in time. This was such a huge card going back to 1990, 1991, 89 Hoops, the David Robinson rookie. Of course, there's two different versions of this, or just funny cards, In Living Color had cards, 1995, the actual wax packs of Ninja Turtles or Dick Tracy cards or whatever. I know I've shown these on the channel before, but again, it's just a reminder of, hey, like maybe I just need to settle back in and just focus in on stuff that brings me joy that doesn't necessarily break the bank.
Get a little album, collect them, and don't worry about the value. It's nice to have this. It's nice to show your friends and so forth. And also maybe buy the sets each year or pick out one or two guys and buy some cards. But if you do it strictly as investment, that's the only reason, you will get burned eventually. And you'll get burned pretty hard.
I like mail days just like anybody else. But does it need to be a $1,000 card in the mail day? Could it be a dollar card that is just like makes me chuckle from my childhood? It gives me a nice kind of flashback to a particular time. Maybe that needs to be the heavy focus as I go into 2026. Maybe on the higher end, as I mentioned, for me, I'm adding maybe one or two things a year, if that. And then I'm kind of focused in on, hey, look, like what's the 80s, 90s stuff that just makes me smile? And maybe it is, I talk about opening new product and oh my God, it costs so much money to open new product. I have gotten a lot of joy over the last couple of years. The product I open, 89 Pro Set Football. Maybe I'll start doing that on the channel more as mix in. I'll kind of have like my little monologue type thing, and then I open up a box of like Ninja Turtle cards or something from 1990. I think that would be a lot of fun. I don't know if anyone would stick around to watch it, But if you are interested in that, I think that as I kind of move into 2026, I can buy a box of those cards for 30, 40, 50 bucks. Simpsons, 1993 Simpsons cards, Skybox Simpsons cards, maybe stuff like that. Or there's sports cards, 91 action-packed football or something, I think that would be fun to kind of wrap in as we move into 2026. I'm just kind of, at the end of every year, we're always looking at like, how did things go from adding to the collection? What did we sell? What do we add? What are we looking to do in 2026? And it's always evolving, which makes this so fun. So we're going to do that. I'm going to be doing that kind of over the holidays, just really thinking about how are we going to position this thing as we move forward. Let me know how you're going to position your collection or how you have been as we round out 2025. Let me know in the comments section, my friends. Stay healthy, stay awesome. Alf, say bye to the people. Or just sit there like a weirdo. I'll talk to you again later.